This is Denise, and today's training is on the art of counting. And counting is really an ancient art, as far back as maybe caveman and cavewoman days, where men would go out and hunt, and the women would gather. And the women also gathered in a way where they protected and were able to resource out what was hunted um, throughout a year, throughout a season, throughout a period of time that was important to them and their family. And that relates to counting. You know, counting, it shifts us from a place of vagueness to clarity. Clarity is that juicy sweet spot where we get to make the best decisions for ourselves, our higher good, where we get to reset priorities and really just get clear about how our dollars are nourishing our life in the most important of ways, our values, the call of our soul, and the things that are really, really important to us. And that is different for every single one of us because we are unique. So this morning, I want to introduce you to a friend called the Spreadsheet. You can actually name your spreadsheet if you like, if that's a little more friendlier. And I've been doing my own personal and business counting since about 1992. And I will say that the process evolves, it gets internalized, it gets way easier. And one of the purposes is really just to connect us to the resources that we have at hand, to teach us how to better steward those resources, and to also, the part that I really love is to look at our behavior and to examine our behavior around, um, are we in alignment? Are we in integrity with what our monthly plan is about how we're resourcing our dollars out? So this morning, I'm going to share with you some of the basics of a spreadsheet. I also want you to know something. I am way more a right brain person than a left brain person, and even I love the spreadsheet. And I've had hurdles in math, and I've had all the, um, thoughts that some of us as women have around, I'm not good at math, and oh my goodness, that spreadsheet scares the bejeebers out of me. And oh my gosh, it's too overwhelming and et cetera, et cetera. But really, you know what? Like with anything, the more we practice, the better we get, right? And we're not doing square roots or geometry or trigonometry or calculus here. We are doing simple math, pluses and minuses with a calculator, mind you. I can't even do simple math in my head anymore. So I am going to share my screen with you and introduce you to my friend, the spreadsheet. So here we go. Let's see. So this is an Excel spreadsheet. It is called the Money Minder. And the Money Minder also there's an online Money Minder where you can download transactions from your bank and upload them online. However, I often start out clients with this Excel version because it's free, and it also, by manually putting in your expenses and your income every month, you actually begin to connect in a really significant neural pathway way with your money that doesn't always happen when you're doing some clicks and automation through uploading and downloading and click it here and click it there type of thing. So this spreadsheet and program here has a year's worth of spreadsheets in it. And I'm going to introduce you to the basics, which are down here on the bottom. We have some tabs, and let me just do something here. Here we go. So if you're using a Mac, you're going to have this little a menu little hickamajigger here floating around, and it'll say change month, show worksheet. And so what I want to show you is that when you click on that, you will have worksheets on the right hand side. And I have clicked certain things. You can click more if you want, for sure. There's more in here, but we're doing basics today. So everything that is clicked here is visualized down here as a tab. And then these are the months of the year. And because we're in the month of October, I've clicked October, and you can see that October has 3 spreadsheets, as does every other month. All right, that's it. And so where we're going to begin with a spreadsheet, however, is in the Customize phase. And in this Customize tab, you can go ahead and customize your lifestyle categories and subcategories of what you spend money on. And so while you are, I already did this. I pre-populated my life, my husband's life, personal choices here for the most part. And so what I want to say here is when you begin to populate your subcategories, I would ask you to populate it in a way where you give your dreams a home. If you're not living your ideal life, place your ideal life here, because it's a home then that you can begin to step into. And many of us don't, when we start out working with spreadsheets and our money, some of us are in survival mode, some not. Some are just on survival mode and a little over. Many of us are not living our ideal lifestyle choices, and they need a home, right? So give them one here, give them a place to be. And the other thing is, this spreadsheet is meant to be engaged with on a regular basis, daily, minimum weekly, where you're doing data entry here and just looking at what your categories are. And so the more we look, the more also that we can have the strength to hold our ideal lifestyle choices to what we want them to be and to move into them. So when you're creating your subcategories here, it is really important to use language that is descriptive with imagery if possible and emotion that connects you to the reason that you're spending those dollars. Why are those dollars nourishing you in the way they are? What needs are those dollars meeting for you? And again, the basic needs that we share as human beings, we share a physiological need of food, clothing, and shelter, right? Because without that, we would die. And we also share 4 psychological needs. One of them is love and belonging. One is personal power. Another is freedom of choice. Another is fun and leisure. So it's important to remember that those are all needs that we need to fulfill in ourselves. They're all in different priority and in different intensity for each of us. But if we don't pay attention to those needs and fulfilling them with our money, we have tendencies then to deprive, to put ourselves into deprivation, and then to actually spend more under rationalization reasons of, I haven't had fun for so long and now I'm going to really have fun, or I deserve this humongo fun because I haven't balanced fun throughout, or I've been working so much that I haven't had time to connect with people in my life, so I'm going to really do this huge big thing, and we overspend in that way. So it's best if we can be on top of our needs every month, and that's what a spending plan does. It's about the numbers, but it is about so much more. um, every month you get to check in. Am I meeting my needs? And this is based on Maslow's hierarchy. So it's just as important to see where you're spending as where you're not spending. What if you have a category under entertainment of like no money? And it's something to look at, right? Like, why is that? Are you a hiker like me and maybe it doesn't cost much to have fun and do entertainment, but really, are you nourishing that part of your life, right? If you say that you want to date and to be in a relationship, where is it on your spending plan? This is a way to bring our words and our behavior and actions into alignment. And when we are in an alignment, we are in integrity with ourselves. So I invite you to do this. If you can look under home here, you will see I put our cottage home. We have a small cottage home that I love and adore. And, money goes out to that every month. And this feels better to me than a mortgage. And property taxes. I'm really not one that likes to give money to the government or to pay property taxes for that matter. So I have to remind myself, why am I paying these property taxes that are, close to $8,000 a year? Well, it's because I'm living here in California in beauty, and there are other states that live in beauty too, but for me, that's why I'm doing that. And these and bills, like it's really not that much fun to pay for bills, but if I really bring gratitude and the language of gratitude to my utilities, I feel really good about that. For example, hot showers are bliss for me. And if I know that my water is going to my three main things, hot showers, gardening, and cooking, I am set. So it's important, that's way better than saying the California Water Service. So recycling, worldwide connection for my ISP. Um, outside plant love instead of gardening. And one of the things I splurge on in my life are luxury bed linens and towels. I love the comfort of just luxurious linens, and I don't pay a lot for them, but I like the 1,000 sheet thread counts that I can pick up at Tuesday morning or a discount store. And we have a cleaning person, and really I should change this to her name. I would go out, I would like decrease our food before I would like eliminate her. She is amazing, been with us for over 30 years. So these are the things, when we look at food, yeah, you can look at grocery. That's what the word was in here, but I fill that up with nourishment or the places where we do takeout. Under self-care, for example, I've listed my husband Greg and I and some of the things that are important to us, and we both go and get mani-pedis, and he calls his the manly petty, and I like mine to be pretty feet. And so you can just customize this to emotional, nurturing, nourishing language about what you're actually spending your dollars on. And when you begin to do that, you actually begin to create a connection between your money and your heart and your neural pathways. And that is a juicy connection. So you can complete this on your own. You can put in the different ways too that revenue comes into your life. And yeah, I have a different business spreadsheet, but if you want to put your business things on here, you can do that as well. Vacation and travel, I have customized all this to things that we like to do. And there you are. And then if you're a little bit OCD like I am, and you don't like empty spaces, you can hide the unused rows, but that does take about 4 minutes of time, and I'm not going to spend that time here. You can do that on your own. So this is the first welcoming to the spreadsheet, is to customize it, to make it your own. Once you do that, keep a master copy so that when the next year comes, you won't have to redo it everything, and you'll have it to use for a following year. So then there are some other tabs on the bottom here that we're going to look at. One is savings. So I want to share with you a model or a viewpoint of how to embrace the spreadsheet, how to look at it, how to use it. And that is that it's important to use this as you would the lens of a camera. Sometimes we want the macro view, the up close and personal, the granular view. That gives us so much information about our behavior and what we're doing in the here and now. And um, it compartmentalizes things, right? Like we can kind of look at how we're spending, but we can also get out of that view and we can look at our debt, or get out of that view and look at our savings, or get out of that view and look at what our periodic expenses are. So these are the macro pieces where they're in compartments, and we can go to whatever compartment we want and view how we're doing. And some compartments may be better than others. Sometimes, at least for myself and my husband, we had a huge amount of debt, like debt to cry over. And we had really no savings. And it wasn't really fun to look at those compartments. However, over time, we begin to track and see the trend that the debt was going down, the savings was going up, and that was like really good for our nervous system to feel. So this is the granular view. We also sometimes have to step back and be an observer of our lives and look at the wide angle view, because sometimes we have our heads so stuck in the woods of what we're doing. And if we have a lot of debt, we could be like, oh my gosh, I'm not making any progress. And look at all this stupid debt, and I'm not going to get anywhere, and I'm broke. But if we take the bigger view, we're like, oh, hey, I'm making progress. Not too bad. Overall, things are going well. I haven't created new debt. The debt I have is getting paid off. I'm living within my means. Thumbs up, two thumbs up. So it's important for our eyeballs and our mindset to be able to focus in and focus out, focus in and focus out, because we get different information from those views. So, off on a little tangent and back to the savings tab. So all that we do here is we populate this with savings, and we may put in here 401k, we may put in an IRA, we may put in a money jar in the house, we may put mattress money. People put money in their house in a lot of different places. Band-Aid boxes, underwear drawers, secret little compartments. The goal here is all of your money counts. We're not looking at what is in your checking account, because we're using that in a different view of the spreadsheet. But we want to look here at where is your money and how much of it do you have, and in what accounts is it that is a savings account, a bank savings, an investment account, a brokerage account, or cash in the house type of thing. And so you can put in what your goal is. Maybe your goal here is $1 million. I don't know. I know that I like to keep money in the house, and I like to usually keep about that much, 1,500. And so you can, put what your goal is, and if you don't have a 401k or IRA or some house money, still put it in, give it a home if this is your desire and you want to create this, give it an energetic home and put your goal in, and then, go to the month of October and put what is the balances in these accounts. If it's zero money, I usually put in $1 just to know that it's zero, because I think if I put zero in here, yeah, it doesn't even have a number. So this is one spreadsheet, and you can look at this every month. It's good to look at the trends. It's good to look at your rate of return of your investments and what they're doing. And I will say that for those of us that have our own business, you can have a business 401k. It depends on what you can put more in a 401k or an IRA, but my earnings are usually somewhere, they're usually around 200, between 150 and 200,000 a year. So given that, a 401k allows me to put more money in than an IRA would. So if you're a higher earner and you're making like 500,000 a year, or you would have to ask your tax accountant, an IRA may be more beneficial, but for those of us around the range that I'm in, a 401k allows you to save a lot more money. So savings account, okay. Then we go to well, I'm going to show you here. If you are in debt, here's a HELOC. So we have home equity line of credit debt. So I can show you this debt reduction worksheet. I will increase the size a little bit. And what it shows here is this is populated from the Customize tab, and it will list your debts, and then you can populate here the interest that you're paying. That's current interest. Monthly payment is this, and I think that was the starting balance. So then, for every debt that you have, it's really good to put in and clarify what is going on here with the debt. We don't put the mortgage in here. You could. So that's a home equity line of credit. And then in this gray area here, you would put your balance every month to manually put that in. Every time you pay on the debt, it'll auto-populate here in this section. So that's the debt reduction. Then we have the periodic calendar. And your periodic calendar is for you to populate with expenses that are not your regular monthly expenses, but these are your expenses that will come up over the next 12 months in different months of the year. The reason that we do this is that we need to save for these expenses. And when we begin to save for these expenses, then we don't have to go into credit card debt or take money out of our 401k. So these are things like auto registration, repairs, right? Maintenance. Out of pocket, medical, dental, vision, vacations, property taxes, summer camps, tuition, if you're buying a computer, seasonal clothing, vet visits, stuff like this. And so what'll happen is you'll put the amount, your best guess or historical data of what month these expenses will most occur in. And then down here, we're going to have some number that says, All of these expenses that you're projecting for the next 12 months total this number. And we take this number, we divide it by 12, and then because there's 12 months in a calendar year, and then every month, this is our target savings goal. Okay. And we have to adjust this sometimes, but we have to start out somewhere. And it's also important for us to know what are our targets. What is our savings target and our, periodic expense target. And I will go back to savings targets down the road here, but this is just the basics for right now. So this is another piece of homework that you can do. And then finally, we have every month has the month and then the 1 through 31 spreadsheet. And I already populated this to save us time. I put in our cottage home payment and why we need to pay that. And so there under home here, I put these are for real. This is what we pay, and our shelter needs come to $3,220 a month. And when I look at this, I'm like, we've cleaned this up a lot, actually. Um, and I invite you to do the same. You know, if you are paying for any services where you're not fully using the service, then call and renegotiate the expense of that service, whether it's your ISP or your cable. For example, for us, we were paying close to $200 a month for cable TV. It was getting up there. And we didn't even use half the stuff. And my husband called and we got it down to $60 a month. That's a lot of money. It's found money that you can take and do things with you can put in other places that are higher value. For gardening, at one time we had a gardener and we were like, you know what? um, we had several gardeners and we said, this is how we want things done. And it wasn't up to our standards. And so we were like, you know what, let's just do this ourselves. And plus we both like to have hands in the dirt. So we did it ourselves and just eliminated that cost. And so, this cost of our heating still, it just like, I want to scream when I look at the amount we pay every month. But that is what we pay for a really old house that has no insulation. And even though that we have appliances that are energy efficient, like it just really bugs me. Then we go to food. We spend about $1,500 a month in food, and sometimes we go over. And there was a study out about 5 years ago that said people that live in cities like New York, San Francisco Bay Area spend about $1,500 a month as a couple for 2 adults on organic food. And that's kind of what it shows, as well with my clients. Some people spend $1,200, some people spend $1,700. Here's the thing. Our nourishment is an investment in our body, mind, and spirit. And it's important to maintain the quality that you desire for the lowest cost you could find, right? And so we do that in different ways. We get organic meat at Costco, Trader Joe's. We get a lot of our stuff, and sometimes we go to Lenardi's for produce that we can't find at Trader Joe's and things of that nature. But this is what it comes to for us. And everybody is a little different here. We're not buying clothing this month. That's that. And we don't really need anything. Under self-care, these are our expenses. Toiletries or Look Pretty products. It comes to around $50. So my hair is about $150. Eyebrows $35. Greg has some other expenses. I put in here, we have some dental stuff, vitamins and supplements we do every month. I've been in therapy since my dad passed away, and I have a $20 copayment every week. That's that. And so when you go in here, what you're really looking at is your life. Like you're learning a lot about my personal stuff by just looking at my numbers. How am I spending my numbers? Money. What is important to me? What do I value enough to pay for it? And I've been doing this for a long time. And so my numbers are pretty clean. I've kind of like taken out stuff that doesn't bring me value anymore. Okay, you look here under entertainment, we have Netflix and we have hiking this month. I don't really have so much more here for this month, but in November and December, we'll probably do some dinners with friends, and that'll be a little bit more money, right? We don't have kids, but we have two dogs, and they populate most of the dependent care. And I like to know exactly like what are we spending on everything here regarding them. So I gave them each their own little section. Okay. So you could go in here and populate with your own. You just click into the cell, you put in some numbers, you click out, and we will go over the adjusted plan piece at a later date. So that's all you do. Just put your numbers in, what you think you're going to spend in a given month. Even though it's October 9th, you can still put in a plan for the rest of the month, right? And then you'll see these columns here, 1 through 31 days of the month. And each day that you spend money, you log your money into the category, subcategory that you spend the money, and that's what you do. And then, in the areas where if you put your month plan in, you look at where am I? This is what I planned. And then I'm just going to move this out of the way. And you look here and you look at this and you say, well, this is what I've spent. And then you begin to compare your month plan to what you're actually spending. In the beginning, there will be big gaps, most likely, between our plan and what we actually spend because most people have the planning muscle the size of a pea. We are not looking forward people. We're like looking in the here and now mostly. And this trains our frontal lobe and pulls it forward a little bit like taffy. We're pulling ourselves forward so that we become better planners, that we become better projectors, and we can then save for what is coming up. It also puts a little fire under our butt around earning. Like if we want this lifestyle choice and we want this stuff to happen in the next quarter, then we need to bring money in to make that happen. So that's this in a nutshell, right? And then once you populate your plan, we look at the summary tab and you'll see your month plan here in a different view, your monthly totals and the amount remaining. Your spending plan has the quality of spandex. It should be able to breathe and stretch in different ways. It's not meant to be a girdle. It's also meant to be a behavioral tool so that every month you know, why am I under in this category? Why am I over? Am I doing wishful thinking? Do I need to be a better planner? What is going on here? Am I having triggers for things that are happening in my life? If I get upset and angry at my husband, am I going shopping for candles and lavender soap because I'm so ticked off that I need a distraction? It makes us look at ourselves and go a little deeper into why we do what we do. And that's good information because sometimes we don't have to use money. We can use our words instead or step into our power a bit more than step into overspending. This also helps us to begin to look at how much exactly do we need to earn. We don't need to work, 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 work. If we just managed what we had and knew what we had to earn, we could have a little more structure of a plan. And our nervous system likes that as well because we know what we're doing. We have goals. We're aiming for something. Things aren't just loosey-goosey around here. So that is our training for today. I encourage you to put in a plan for the month of October. And you can backtrack in looking at your online bank transactions to see what's going on. put them in here, click in, put your expense, click out. See where you're at. Just start to get familiar with your numbers. And that's going to be it for today. I hope this is very helpful for you. If you have questions, please tell me. We will meet on our one-to-ones, but you can email as well in our community. And let's get a discussion going here of how this spreadsheet, you can use this spreadsheet to enhance your life, to build a foundation that your wealth is based on by knowing your numbers, just like you know your cholesterol and your blood pressure and the size of your blue jeans. It's important to know our numbers. That's how we step into power. So blessings, love, and yeah, step into your numbers. It's a good place to be, in this place of knowing. Okay, bye everybody.